How's it going? Tony Fix here with Blue Green Artifacts, and haven't done this in a while. Kids are asleep. I've got my Fargo Brewing Company sponsorship available. Fargo Brewing Company. I'm from Fargo, so I'm just trying to represent. And wait, yeah, I've done a couple of these. I'm opening stuff. Big, nothing world-changing there. Everybody on YouTube opens stuff, but I am a comic seller. I have actually been collecting comics. You can't see them all, but they're all half of the collection's lying on the floor here. For quite a while, collected as a kid, fell out of it, started college, looked in a price guide and found out that my number one on my Punisher miniseries was worth $40. So that got me hooked. I got back into it again, fell out of it again, and then actually just got back into it about 5-6 years ago. Yeah, I like to buy, I like to read, I like to build my own personal collection. The reason that I started selling was really just to fund my own collection, so that if I went to the shop and spent $40, maybe 3 of those books could cover that whole $40, and then the rest of them would all be, I'd basically get what I wanted for free. It kind of built from that. I still have my own personal collection, but I've really enjoyed the stock market aspect of this whole thing. And I'm just going to shut the F up and start opening some stuff. So I'm pretty active on eBay and Amazon, actually. I've got, I think, between 1,150 listings on eBay currently. Got another 800 to 900 on Amazon. Amazon is mostly, I don't do a lot of comics on Amazon, but I do sell other stuff too. Actually, you know what? We might touch on that because I've got something else I can open up here too. Long story short, almost everything I buy now is to sell. I learned my lesson in the 90s with sports cards, spending hundreds of dollars on them, thinking that I was going to be rich. They went up in value, and then they went down in value, and the only people who made money from sports cards in the 90s were the people who owned shops, the people who were selling them all the time. So I kind of took that philosophy with comics, and it's been awesome because now I can fund some actually bigger purchases than I could ever do it before. I don't make a huge profit. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm the best seller, but I'm an active seller, even if I spend most of what I make. But I try to keep my fingers on the pulse of what's going on, or at least invest in things that I am confident in, which is what you should do. So 6 books in that box that just opened up, and they are the mini-series, The Hood, from, by the way, I'm not a fountain of knowledge. 2002, I want to say, Brian K. Vaughan, The Hood. These covers have a black spine. This is the one to own. If you can get this in a 9.8, they are selling currently for between $350 and $450. This is not a 9.8. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 color breaking spine ticks and a little bend on the bottom. Whatever. You can find these complete sets for about $40. I think that's a good buy. Obviously, it's better if they come in high grade. This one is not. It could use a press. If it had a press, it could be somewhat salvageable. I can't see the back cover right now. And I don't think there's a lot of spec value in the other covers, aside from the fact that they are cool covers and would be worth money as a set. So there's 1, don't even know if I have these in order. There's 2. Gosh, this light, my new light is too bright for that. 3. This might not be in order, but I'm going to keep saying 4. We're going to go with 5. I like that cover. That is really cool. And 6, again, really cool cover. So I like this villain. I like the chances. A lot of my Marvel spec has to do with stuff that I think could be on screen, that I think would be good on screen. Even if there are option rumors, if there aren't option rumors, I don't really care. It affects what I buy. There haven't been any rumors necessarily about the Hood, but he is in the Spider universe for the most part. And they're going to make a lot of Spider movies. So at some point in time, this could be a really interesting character, like a supernatural underworld type character. I think it would be great on screen. Kind of develops into an anti-hero. Anti-hero. I don't know. There we go. What else we got? Let's keep it going. So Hood, how am I gonna sell that? I want to make sure that when I'm doing these, that I'm not only showing you what I buy, but tell you actually what I'm going to do with it. There's a lot of videos where, oh, look what I bought. And then, yeah, okay, if it's not going in your personal collection, what are you actually going to do with it? Or if you are going to sell it, how are you going to sell it? Are you going to get it graded first? Are you going to sell it on eBay? Are you going to hold on to it for 4 years because you think it'll be worth a lot more down the road? What is the plan? So it's okay that we got started slowly, because what do you know? I just happened to open the same book twice in a row. This is another copy of the Hood. This one is in much better condition, a little scuffy. Corners look clean. Yeah. This one, and some of the scuffy might even just be on the, I don't want to take it out right now. Might even just be on the little protector. But again, Hood number 1. So what are my plans with these? I have actually 2 of them off to CGC right now. These are the play for me right now with the Hood. Find high grade copies, get them graded. 9.8s. If there's any sort of rumor, I think even at this $350 price, I'm not going to price it there. I tend to price wherever I think they should be. I don't care what other people are selling them for. If that means I'm way higher, then I'm way higher. Whatever, that's my value. I'll hold on to it until it gets to that price then. So actually, this could use a press, I guess. I have high hopes for the Hood. So I'm thinking number 1s could hit 700-800 if there's any thought of getting him into the MCU. And you know, the closer we get to the dark parts of the MCU, I know he's not officially one of the spirits of vengeance, but he is kind of in that realm. He's kind of a flexible character. That's why I like him. He could be just a standard Spider-Man villain, showing up in a movie. He could feature in his own. So yes, that's my plan on those. I'll probably still get them graded if they're 9.6s, just because they're not easy to find in high grade. Those 9.8s will definitely be a premium, but 9.6s, I think at that point will still sell for over $200. If I can buy a book, even if it's part of a set, for $40, spend another $35 or whatever to get it pressed. Oh, $40 if I'm getting it pressed and graded. I've got $80 into it. If I can sell it for $250, I'm okay with that. I'm not doing this to break even. I'm not doing this to pay bills. This is kind of extra. Dang, how do I'm really trying to be random here, but it's not being so random. That's really cool. Look what I got. It's the hood. I bought this on Amazon and got it from Kalen's Collectibles, mainly because I haven't even read the whole miniseries yet. I've read portions of it, but I have this fear of reading my own comics that my cat's going to jump on me or the kids are. I don't know. If I think it has any value at all, I really don't want to touch it, to be honest. I've even got my little white gloves here in case I need to. So I'm a trade paperback reader. I'm an omnibus reader. I'm a deluxe hardcover reader. So that's why I bought this. But check it out. I don't know if you can see that on the bottom right corner. It's the bottom right for me. That, I do believe, is a Brian K. Vaughan signature. I did not order a signed copy. I'm looking at my receipt. It mentioned nothing about being a signed copy. That's freaking cool. I know trade paperbacks are not necessarily as collectible as comics. They can be. I don't know much about this trade. Since I'm just really curious. This is kind of cool. It seems to be in really good shape. Now I won't be able to read this. God dang it. No, I'm kidding. I'll probably still read it. The hood. It is a first print, yeah. So first print, signed by Brian K. Vaughan. God. Even when I buy a beater copy, and then I'm still going to get freaked out about reading the damn thing. Okay, awesome. Well, maybe I'll have to buy a second reader copy to protect my Brian K. Vaughan signed book. That is so cool. That is really, really cool. Even a signed trade paperback, so this isn't probably something that I would try to sell. But there are some first edition trades that do have value. So I don't keep up on that market. I don't know what they might be or what they would be. But it'll be cool to have on the shelf. I will give it a read and get everything I can out of that character. Brian and Jack from Simple Man's Comics always have great advice, as well as Gary Nusser. I have a lot of respect for Gary Nusser and his spec ideas, his rants. There are too many people, me included sometimes, who don't take advantage of the value of reading. I get so heavy into buying and selling and what is hot and getting a copy of this retailer variant and that one. Sometimes we lose focus that these are books that we are buying and selling. I know what I like. I know what I like to read. I do have 2 kids and a wife and a house and a job. So I can't say that I have the most time in the world, considering after the kids go to bed, I come in here and get packages ready to go and all that good stuff. But I do need that reminder now and then. But the best way to be a good comic speculator or seller is to use your own products. They advise against that in the Wire, but this is not methamphetamines. It's more addictive, actually. No, that's not a good joke. This was packed rather well. I do like it when things are in bubble wrap because I use bubble wrap so much. That is one of my tips. I don't know if you may have seen it before, but use all of the buffalo. You have to spend a lot of money. I buy backer boards. I buy the Gemini mailers. I buy resealable bags. I buy regular comic backers. I bought the label maker. I buy the actual labels themselves. So save money where you can. This is one of my new favorite spec books. Shout out to the Mighty Mel V. He's on my team on this one. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur #1, 2016, January 2016. This is the first print. This is just the A cover. It's not one of the variants. In my opinion, I think Moon Girl is going to be part of this, I don't know, quote unquote, new generation of heroes. We've seen those explosions in prices with Miles, with Spider-Gwen, with Miss Marvel, and it's even moving beyond them now. America Chavez Nova's getting some heat. Amadeus Cho. But I don't think they're done. There are more in that generation, including Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. I actually have the first appearance of Devil Dinosaur, off to get graded right now. Cross on the fingers for a 9.8. This is a 9.8. Got one of these. My daughter has one of these. I'd like to get more of them because I think at the prices where they're at right now is quite cheap. This is a Marvel #1. So it's not like there's 0 copies out there, but it's not a Spider book. It's not an X book. It wasn't, 150,000 copies printed. So, and all white on the spine, not the easiest book to keep in perfect condition. This one's really, like, usually on the 9.8s, you see one little, one corner will have a little dink, and then everything else looks good. But this one looks good all the way around. But anyways, not like I'm going to try to press it for a 9.9 or anything. But Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur. At the prices that it's at right now, this is a buy. At the very least. It's going to hold its value if nothing else. I do think there's going to be not just the new generation of heroes, but at some point we're going to see like the younger new generation, kind of like this generation's Power Pack. I know Power Pack's still around, but dude, they're like 35 years old now, so they shouldn't be kids anymore. But we've got other kids. We've got Io, Crescent and Io from the Agents of Atlas. We've got Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur. Who else do we have on the younger side? Well, I Franklin and Valeria Richards. Again, they never age either. But being on the little kid side of things, Squirrel Girl is still has a shot to be in that kind of group too. Silk, of course. I don't know. There's a lot of them, but I could see an opportunity, especially with Disney Plus, to have some sort of kid superhero team, not just a kid version of Spider-Man, but actual kids. Maybe even something like the Strange Academy. Anyways, I'll quit babbling. Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur, #1. I think it will go up. If I didn't think it would go up, I wouldn't have bought it. Cool tape. Harris Brothers Auctions, Flint, Michigan. I'll probably accidentally flash my own address here somewhere along the line, but that's cool. I want my own packing tape. No, I'm jealous. I'm not good enough to have my own packing tape. Screw you. Okay. All right, I'm guessing this is another slab. And yeah, some of these have been sitting here a while, so that's the reason why. Always check the bottom of the box, by the way. A few times I've opened something and, oh yeah, I've got that. And then I throw the box aside and find out that there's like bonus comics in the bottom I wasn't aware of. Oh, some people are just extra generous. Oh, for the love of God. Why do we have to tape this like it's... All right, here we go. I know what this is. I know exactly what this is. So, something else I've been specking on recently, something that I'm excited about, something that is not only optioned, but it is not only in development, but it is actually getting ready to film. They're doing casting right now, and that would be the Sandman series for Netflix, which made me wonder, why do you think they're doing the Sandman series on Netflix? Because it is a DC property, so wouldn't HBO Max make a lot more sense? Like, Watchmen? I guess Watchmen was HBO. I don't know. Maybe it was licensed out and somebody else had the rights to it. I would think, unless this one got started before. Anyways, why do I have this one? Oh, God. They did it again. Or is that how it's supposed to be? All right, so this is Sandman. This is number 19. This is not one of the big books. I picked this up for about $100. This is Sandman number 19. This is the error edition. You can see up top. You probably can't. Their story pages number 18 and 19 are switched. Somewhere, I think I got the regular edition of this too. Why this one? So Sandman number 1, first appearance of Dream. Sandman number 8, first appearance of Death. Sandman, I'm going to get these wrong. There's another in the first 25 that is the first appearance of the Corinthian. And there's another that is the first appearance of Daniel. Those are kind of the big four of the beginning of the run, with number 1, obviously the first appearance of Dream and Morpheus. Well, Dream is Morpheus. Number 8 is kind of the Holy Grail, though. The print run was a lot smaller on number 8. Nearly all black cover, especially along the spine. First appearance of Death. There are other versions or other variants kind of that book. What I was groaning about, I don't know if you can see this, right inside there. You can see it right there. Do you see that? It's like a little label top that goes across the back. I've seen that on another book before. It almost looks like the little sack or whatever that the comic sits in. Like that's where they open it and enter it from the side. But I have another book that has that same thing on it. And on the other one, this piece of plastic actually creases the spine where it runs across it. So that really makes me feel like it wasn't supposed to be there. So they made an error on the error edition, possibly. But anyways, Sandman number 19. Why that one? I mean, it is an error variant, whatever. There's a lot of error variants. This one is important. Sandman 19, titled A Midsummer Night's Dream. This one, when it first came out, this won what was called the H.P. Lovecraft Award for fantasy fiction. That award changed names because now H.P. Lovecraft got canceled. But that award was given to literature, to books, to short stories and such. It's never been given to a comic book, ever. And this year, for this issue, it did. This issue takes place basically in the Shakespeare story of A Midsummer Night's Dream. So all the characters, Puck and all they're all there. It kind of works. It's really cool. It's like he Morpheus is watching this performance, and then I don't know. It's a Shakespeare play living inside of a comic book, which is really cool. I love Sandman in general, but because this won that literature award, and then after it won the award, the people who run the award kind of changed the rules, or they changed the definition of how the award is given, so that a comic book could not win the award going forward. So it was the first comic book to ever win a literary award, and it will probably be the last comic book to win at least that literary award. And I think that's important, because this is, in my mind, this is when comics started being taken seriously. Comics for adults, comics for people who are mature, not just people who want to see people in spandex punching each other. Comics as literature, comics as art, as an art form. It's not the first serious comic. It's not the first comic for adults, but this is the first one that really became recognized for that. And because it was recognized, and because Sandman had such a legacy, even if you've never read Sandman, the majority of our independent books out there now, all these titles coming from Dark Horse and Boom and Image and these crazy stories, I think the reason that we can tell those stories in comics has a lot to do with Sandman, and has a lot to do with this book. So for me, this is definitely a milestone issue. And to have the area variant of it is really cool. And to get it for freaking $100 is amazeballs. So super happy about that one. That's so cool. All right. What's next? Let's grab a small one. Pardon my out of frame reach here. I'm not going to do everything. There's probably a few too many. All right, Mr. Joe Papizi. Dude, how do mailmen actually read these? I cannot. Edmonton? No. I have no idea what that says. New York. Oh, it's the Bronx. Okay. BX. Got it, Joe. Sorry, Joe. I hope I didn't offend you. The chance of you watching this. 1 in 10 billion to 1. So, what did I buy from you, Joe? What do we got here? I promise you that not only are we talking about buying, but selling. So, Sandman, Era Variant, Midsummer Night's Dream is not a recognized book right now. It doesn't hold a lot of value outside of like me and whatever, a few other people apparently. So for anywhere near $100, I'm just holding on to that. I've got a full collection of Sandman. I'm not looking to get rid of it. That being said, there's really nothing in my collection that wouldn't have a price. I mean, somebody can tell you that they would never sell something and they're lying. Like, there is a price. there is a price. Nobody's going to pass up whatever that number is for them. There is a price for everything and everybody. And the thing I try to remember is the reason that there's a price is because even if I sell it and I regret it later, or I wish I had that book back again, I can just buy it again. It's not that big of a deal. You know, maybe I buy it for a little bit more than what I sold it for. For instance, that negative space variant, the Wolverine, the San Diego Comic-Con book that everybody's, the banana Wolverine one. So it came out. I liked it. I bought it. I got it for like $40 a week after San Diego Comic-Con. I put a price on it of like $105. It went up pretty quickly and boom, sold it. Great. I actually was kind of trying to complete those negative space variants. But that's the value I put on that one. Somebody else paid me and I sent it off. So I made whatever, 80 bucks on it. Of course, now the raws are what, 200, 300 sometimes. And now I wish I kind of owned it again. I mean, I guess I could. If I really wanted it, I could go get it again. I mean, I'm not going to pay top dollar, but I could keep my eyes open and try to find a copy that's a bit of a bargain. And then if I find it for whatever, 160, maybe I can sell it down the road for 320. Now I made money on it again. If I find a good deal on it down the road, I can pick it up again. There's like nothing is sacred in comics. Really, none of these are one of one. I mean, there are more out there. Oh, hey, Splash Page Comic. Sorry. Yeah, I generally don't read the chat because there's nobody in there. What's the story behind the name of my channel? Blue Green Artifacts. That's just the name I picked when I started selling stuff. I was buying a lot of mystery boxes, actually. Believe it or not, I was selling a lot more of those before I was selling comics. I thought it was vague enough, but I don't know. There's really no story behind it. But I figured with that name, I could sell whatever I wanted to, and it would fall under the category of artifacts. But hey, Splash Page, thank you for joining. Sorry, I was ignoring chat there for a while. What else? You got the next generation of comic collectors will be picking up these new heroes. I definitely agree with you. Yeah, for me, a lot of those, like the Moon Girl, the Miles, the Spider Gwen, America Chavez, Silks, a lot of those are going to be long-term holds. I like to get more than one. Speaking of America, that was the next one I just opened up. We've got America #1. This is the second print, the sketch. I guess you would call it a sketch variant. There were a few second prints of this one. This is the sketch variant of the 1 in 25 of the first issue. So it got kind of complex there. This one's not in great condition. I actually found a bunch of these for like 20 bucks a piece right before they blew up. And I stumbled upon this one somewhere, but I think with a good press. I sold most of these already for, I want to say 60 bucks a piece. They all went in one weekend after that casting news came out. But that's fine. Dude, I think I paid 15 or 20 bucks a piece for them. I sold them for 60. I've still got a couple really good high grade ones, and I'm still looking out for more. So America Chavez. But like I was saying, I think for me, I like to get more than one copy of these. Because yeah, if you have one, if you buy one copy and say you get it at a good price, and then say it goes up, by a multiple of 8. And that's a great price. You just made some good money if you sell it. So you feel good about it, you sell it, and then you watch that price go up more, and then you watch it go up more, and then you watch it go up more. And all of a sudden that good decision that you thought you made by selling it now in later becomes a regret. But if you have 4 copies of that book, case in point, I appreciate that, Flash. Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't get an opportunity to do this all that much, but again, I like to see what other people are buying, but I also want to know why they're buying it. I watch Tales from the Flip Side, and they all open their books, and I know a lot of theirs are just for the PC, for personal collection. But for the guys that are selling, like, why? What are you going to do with that? Are you going to press it? Are you going to hold on to it? Are you going to flip it like immediately? What's going to happen? So, anyways, thanks, Splash. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I can't say I have a ton of content on there, but hey, We can't all be Comic Tom 101, right? And I am not a video editor, so if you ever see my thumbnails are pretty shady. All right, come on here, you bastard. I always worry that I'll get a little over anxious and fold it in half on its way out of the package. Multiple copies. If you have a good idea, don't make it a good idea that earned you one book. If you have a good idea, not put all your eggs in one basket, but go with your good idea. If you think that this $15 book is undervalued, yeah, you can get one, but you could also get like 4. I mean, you don't have to get 50, but that way, if you get 4 of them, now when it hits 80, yeah, you can sell one. And then if it keeps going, you still have more. Or if it stays at 80, you can sell them all there and have a great ROI. If it becomes an icon, like the first Batman Who Laughs. Actually, I'll credit Tales from the Flip Side. Or no, it was CBSI article. Something mentioned, because I wasn't keeping up with Batman at the time, but I read about it. It just came out. About 3 copies, paid, I think, $17 a piece for them. When they hit 45, I sold one. I know, in retrospect, really dumb. But the other 2 I held on to, got them graded. One came back in 9.6. I sold that one at at 220. The other one came back in 9.8, and I think I sold that one at 500 or 600, which now that price is low. So there's always going to be regrets. You don't sell books. You've only sold one book in 40. Yeah, that's the tough part. There are books that you get attached to, but whatever that was in me before, I was able to just flip that off. I think when I started selling, there were books that I wouldn't sell. But at this point, and my prices might be crazy high, but there's nothing that I own that I would, be dead if I didn't own anymore. I get just as much enjoyment out of having owned a book, even if I don't own it anymore. So even when that Banana Negative Space Wolverine busts out, I'm like, yeah, I know that book. I had that one. I bought it, I have my own story of when I owned it and when I can't show it to you now, but it's still in my memory banks, and it's still a good reminder of my collecting. All right, somebody else that I am specking on that I think is going to have some value, and that would be this is a little bit under the radar, but this is Avengers Unplugged #1. This is the first appearance of Monica Rambeau as, I think this is the Spectrum one. She said 3 names. She's been Captain Marvel, she's been Photon, she's been Spectrum. So there's a first Spectrum book, there's a first Photon book. That Amazing Spider-Man annual is her first appearance as Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau. I started reading in the 90s, so honestly, she was my Captain Marvel. This whole this MCU version of Captain Marvel is I had to get used to that because she was Captain Marvel for me. That's who was Captain Marvel when I started reading comics. So I love Monica Rambeau. I'm glad she's going to be, she's actually in the WandaVision series. I'm not sure how she really connects to WandaVision, but she is in that series. I don't know if this specific book is going to have that much value. I guess it depends on what name she ends up going by in the MCU. It probably won't be Captain Marvel. So whether it's Photon or Spectrum, one of those 2 books might have a little more value going forward. This is not a 9.8, but it might be a 9.6. It's pretty decent shape considering it's 24 years old and probably been sitting in back issue bins for ages and ages. Monica Rambeau, I think, is perfect for the MCU. Like, I guess I think of it as if they had a new Avengers team, like say they did like a West Coast Avengers, instead of just continuing on Thor 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and Iron Man 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who are the other characters that would be in the Avengers? Monica Rambeau, Tigra. I'm naming some West Coast Avengers now, but there are some big Avengers. She-Hulk. There are some big Avengers who we haven't seen yet, and they have backstories, and they have history, and they have villains, and they will be used. So I think not just the younger generation, but a lot of the vets. Wonder Man. Wonder Man's got a great, family history with Grim Reaper and I think there are some characters that they have kind of skipped over that have a lot of promise. So Monica Rambeau is definitely one of those. I did have a 9.6 of her first appearance in that Amazing Spider-Man book. But I did, again, I sold it. Maybe I'll get it back again. The play for her right now, I think, is if you can get these first Spectrum and first Photon appearances for a low price. You really need them in high grade, though. Any 90s book is going to have a huge print run, which means there's, not a ton of copies out there, but most people who were collecting in the 90s were buying bags and boards. They would read their books, they would put them away right away. So there are quite a lot of people like me who probably have them in decent shape. So there's not going to be as much value in a 9.6 of most 90s books. If you get them 90s or later, you really want to aim at a 9.8, unless it's a really big key. Even something like Venom, Lethal Protector, #1, if you get that in a 9.6, I bought a copy of that for $25, got it graded, it came back in 9.6. Honestly, I couldn't sell it at $70. So you got to be careful. Something like this, if I could find a graded copy that somebody was selling for $60, that's the best case scenario. Then I'm not risking a 9.6. If I do want to get it graded, I don't know. This specific one is risky, I think, just because we don't know Spectrum or Photon name she's going to take. Let's see what we got here. 46 years of collecting? Seriously. Damn. You've got to have some good books in that collection then. What I'd really like to do, if I have more time, is to get into buying collections. I've bought just a couple, just looking on Facebook, but actually putting ads out there or putting, something on Craigslist. A lot of people do that, but it's something I could do. And as people are selling their own stuff, this didn't even come in a bag. This is actually the same spec as the last book that I was just looking at. This is also a book for Monica Rambeau. This is The Mighty Avengers. I'll show it in just a second, sorry. I don't want to screw with it. So I think that one was first Spectrum. I think this one was first Photon. This is a variant. So it is a sketch Deadpool variant of the Mighty Avengers #1. And I want to say this was like a 1 in 50. It looks to be in pretty good condition, amazingly, considering it wasn't even really protected very well. So again, a little bit risky spec if we're talking about, you know, what name she's going to have. I think her first appearance is going to be always the biggest one. You know, I started the sentence like 5 minutes ago that I didn't finish. The spec on her, though, I think is that Captain Marvel #1. It's the first time she's featured in her own book. It's, I don't know, it's a brown cover, but it's really nice. It was late 80s. And to get it in good condition, that was just, had no respect for years and years and years. You can still find 9/8 for around $100. And I think that's a steal right now. I think besides her first appearance, I think that's her big key book. It's a great cover, great feature. But she got the 90s and went back to buying Silver Age books because, I didn't have any money in the 90s. Well, I can't say that. I had a job, but I didn't have the money to buy Silver Age, and you're probably the smartest one of us all, because a lot of those books, when you look at compared to what they're worth now, were just stupid cheap. I remember I had a copy of the Overstreet Price Guide, and in the back of that, you know, the whole back third of it almost was just ads from comic book sellers. And they would have their catalog like right on that page, you know. They would list, I've got these books for $3, $5, whatever. Mile High was always on there. And I want to say it was on the Mile High page. I never did, but I bookmarked that page. They had a copy of Giant Size X-Men. They were selling for $25. I know. $25. I never went forward and ordered it. I mean, at that point, I think that was not quite 90s. That was still late 80s, but still, like I can envision that page and where it says Giant Size X-Men #1, $25. Just to think that I could have had it for that price. But yeah, generally, it seems like the people who make the best decisions buying books are the ones who are spending just not crazy amounts, but just a little bit more than the other people. You know, while some people are out spending $10 for a 1 in 10 retailer variant of whatever Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, a brand new book. Other people are out there spending $85 on a first appearance of Revan in the Knights of the Old Republic in near mint condition, and then getting it graded and then watching that explode shortly thereafter. So yeah, if you were buying Silver Age while everybody else was buying hologram editions, you were making a good choice. What kind of package is this? Ah! You know, we didn't mention this one, but this is another one. This is a complete no-brainer, even a better spec than Moon Girl, in my opinion. She kind of went up and then lost favor. But that would be Shuri. She's even been in the movies already. But definitely has a future. We've got some mutant rings, though. I hate those. But definitely has a future in the MCU, not just in Black Panther movies. Although, if it follows the comics, she will probably take up the mantle of Black Panther. But even if she does, it won't just be in her own movies. Again, if we get that next Avenger team with new people in it, it could very easily have Shuri, and God, those Newton rings are all over. I've heard that CGC, if you send them a picture, that sometimes you probably won't be able to see them at all, but from really all four corners, you can get some of the Newton rings. They're not horrible, but they're definitely there. I had a copy of this. I bought for whatever, maybe $20. I got it graded, came out at 9.6. I sold it for, I want to say $150 or $180. So I was happy with that. But then again, when all these other Miles Morales is booming, and this is sitting at, you know, $250, $300, it seems like a no-brainer. Like it's not even speculation. She's already in the movies. She's a young character. She's really popular, great actress. That's not spec. That's just no shit, Sherlock. Wow. Well, okay, so if you spent $350 on your Amazing Fantasy 15, 1978, so if I offer you like $950, oh, that's a good ROI. Just think of that, all that profit, what you could do with $950. That's crazy, man. No, much respect. I mean, considering I haven't been collecting steady for that long. What state? I'm in Minnesota, by the way, Vikings. I have not been collecting that long, but you know, on and off over the last 35 years or so, which means I really don't have any big boy books. Mine are a little bit. I've got some really, really good moderns, but I don't consider those big boy books. Some of them have big boy price tags on them, but no, they're. I don't have any. I don't even know what the thing. What do I have even close to a big boy book? I don't know. I've got a first appearance of Fin Fang Foom. Strange Tales number 89. It's only a 4.5, but there isn't any copies over a 9.0 of that book. So, yeah, I don't blame you. That's a good business decision. No, I'll tell you, I'm saving up for, maybe you own this one, but my Grail, and actually what I've been saving up for, not saving up for, but ramping up for. I've been trying to work smaller books into medium books into bigger books, and I'm hoping to sell about 8 of those at the same time, because I really want to get a Fantastic Four number 5 first appearance of Doctor Doom. That is my Grail. I know you can get a low grade copy for a couple $1,000 maybe. I'd like, you know, I'm not going to get a super high grade, but I'd like a decent mid grade. But yeah. Well, you've got a lot of things going for you in this hobby. Then, not only access to the books if you grew up in a comic shop, the knowledge that goes with it. I don't know. It's just cool. It's such a, you know, I think both the times when I started collecting back when I was a kid and then again in college, like I loved it and I read everything. I spent probably more money than I should have. But at the same time, it was like, you know, it wasn't, you know, it doesn't make you the cool kid in school necessarily, talking about X-Men during study hall. But I like how that's changed a lot. What we got here? More Newton rings. So this is kind of a gamble, but whatever. I like goofy stuff too. So new Teen Titans number 16. This is the kind of DC spec I like. I'm never going to trash on DC. I love Sandman. That's DC. I just don't know as much about DC. I wasn't a Batman reader as a kid. Wasn't really into Superman or Wonder Woman. So I have nothing against them, but I don't spec on them because I just don't know them as well. It's like in stocks. If you don't know, the banking industry, then maybe you shouldn't be investing in financial stock. So I know more Marvel. This is actually the first appearance of Captain Carrot. You can see at the top. Free Captain Carrot preview pullout. I actually got a raw one of these a couple days ago that I opened and took a look at it, and yeah, it's like a separate. It doesn't really pull out. It's like a preview in the middle. Captain Carrot, of course, being one of those, like Howard the Duck kind of goofy characters. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I've done a couple of these, and I'm like, that character who was in that book from that one, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I feel your pain. Why would I be specking on Captain Carrot? If you looked at the solicitation for one of the upcoming death metal books, it actually gets into a team from the multiverse, and it actually lists who's going to be in the book. And one of those characters is Captain Carrot. I thought that was hilarious. I looked on eBay, and these were selling for a 9.8. If it's a first appearance of pretty much anything or anyone, you can get a first appearance of Princess Fisk, Wilson Fisk's daughter, in a 9.8, and that's going to cost you more than $100. So a 9.8 of a first appearance is for $100 is that's just base level. And I think that's what this was. This was even a little less. An older book, 82. I have no idea if that Captain Carrot death metal is going to come to anything at all. I like the fact that Starro, if you know Starro, introduced. No, not Starro. Starro was the big alien from the Justice League. Jarro, who is a baby Starro that is now Batman's sidekick. Really weird, but I like the goofy. I like the goofy stuff in DC. I like Metal Men and Squadron Supreme. I guess that wasn't really DC. That was Marvel. Never mind. I like the goofy stuff. So Captain Carrot, 80s, silly, and somehow relevant now in death metal. So sure, why not? Maybe he'll get his own book, right? Yeah, I don't know what it was about DC and Marvel. It's always a rivalry, and people hate on one or hate on the other. I don't hate on DC. I just didn't get into it, especially I think it's probably started more in the 70s, but when Marvel became popular, they became popular because they were so different compared to DC. The stories were more down to earth. The characters were more flawed. They weren't these Greek gods who just could do no wrong and face these, universe-ending threats. It was Spider-Man with his girl problems and the X-Men getting kicked out of, restaurants because of how they look or whatever. So yeah, it was just a lot more grounded in reality. Not really, but more grounded characters. It made for better stories when you can actually relate to the characters. And I think Marvel was a lot better at that. DC has gotten better at that too. They're not all high and mighty, but I don't have a problem with them. Again, I just don't spec on them all that much. All right, let's do two more little ones, and then I'm going to wrap it up here. Yeah, I agree. Marvel, I should be featuring some of these just here. There. Marvel was a fun read. DC was too technical for me. Correct. I think there's a lot of genres that this kind of, these two alternate paths pop up. I think in superheroes, you have Marvel and DC. DC is like the shining, the godlike characters. They're perfect, and very epic and almost like sanitary. Where Marvel is much more dirty and gritty and down to earth. In science fiction, that dichotomy is Star Wars versus Star Trek. Star Trek, the future is perfect, technology is perfect, our society is perfect, and we just need to go to war against other civilizations or find other civilizations and who aren't as civilized as we are. Where Star Wars, also in the future, also great tech, but it breaks sometimes, and sometimes your dad leaves you, and sometimes you find out shit that you don't want to find out, and it's an imperfect story in the same genre. In fantasy, I think the perfect one is the Lord of the Rings. Everyone has great intentions, and there's good versus evil, and the warriors are the perfect specimens of their race or whatever. In fantasy, I think we don't have another one. I would say maybe Dragonlance. Again, fantasy world. Those characters are flawed. You have one that's the leader of the group is a child of rape, and you have a lot of flawed characters. I like that side of things. I like the Star Wars versus the Star Trek. I like Dragonlance versus Lord of the Rings, and I like Marvel versus DC. There's kind of serendipity. As I'm talking about stuff, I open something else that leads into. So this is Justice League number 10. God, you can see all that white color? No. It is the sketch variant. It's a beautiful Jim Lee. Okay, I'm going to learn how to tilt this properly. Maybe that's the best we can do right there. It's a Jim Lee Aquaman, obviously. Sketch variant. I think it's a 1 in 10. This is the first appearance of Jarro. I was just talking about Jarro. If you don't know who Jarro is, just do a Google search and you'll get a couple little captions and you'll fall in love. I don't know. Introduced a couple years ago, obviously in Justice League, and has been popping up in this in the big crossover in Death Metal. And crossing fingers, and I haven't even finished reading them all, but I hope he sticks around. For some reason, I would so much rather put my money into this quirky little starfish than Robin King. I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody else specking on these. I was finding these are I think they're 1 in 25s. I was picking up these for, I probably got like 6 or 7 of them for about $10 to $12 or 10 to 15. Which it's a beautiful cover in its own right. So that's fine. The main cover A and cover B, they're not going for more than cover price right now. So nobody else is really specking on Jarro. But again, I just spent $100 on a Captain Carrot book. So that tells you what kind of collector I am. Yeah, I agree on the DC thing. I do kind of look at it like stocks, though. It's not Coke and Pepsi necessarily. I think the reason that I don't get into DC is because I just don't know it as well. So, I mean, I know you've been in comics for a long time, but it's never too late. I would find something and give something a shot. There is a new generation. I've heard Far Sector. I think I'm gonna start picking up Far Sector. That is that in the Green Lantern universe, but totally not a Green Lantern story. I guess it's completely far away from any other of the DC characters, so it kind of sets its own rules. She does have a ring, a Green Lantern ring, but it's supposed to be really fresh and new, so and interesting. So worth giving it a shot. What do we got here? This is the last one we're going to do, and then I got to crash because I got to work in the morning. We have Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. This is number 42. And I believe this is. I'm going to do the most unexciting thing you can ever do on a live stream on YouTube, and that's look at my phone. But I really want to. I don't think this is the first appearance of Darth Malak. Yeah, it's not. There are. Yeah, maybe it is. Huh. I thought there were. I've been chasing a lot of Darth Revan books. Darth Revan was that character who showed up in Knights of the Old Republic video game and has just earned such a huge cult following, having not been in anything else besides video games and books. Dark Horse started using him in the 15 years ago or so, 12 years ago, I'm not sure. There are 3 books that are associated with Darth Revan's first appearance. So I've been collecting all 3 of them. I thought this was the 3rd one, but no, this is the first appearance of Darth Malak. I don't know, not really specking on Darth Malak as much, but I think I found this for a pretty good price. And this is a pretty minty copy. It's got a little crinkle that I can probably get pressed out. So Splash, I'm curious, are you Mr. White Gloves, peace out. Thanks for coming, Splash. Yeah, I will check out your channel. Thanks for hanging out. It's more awkward when I just talk to myself. If I got somebody to talk to, it's kind of cool. But no, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming. Yeah, so Darth Malak. Again, I think Darth Revan is the way to go. I've actually got something in the mail coming concerning Darth Revan. I'm excited. I honestly think Darth Revan is going to be. I know there's a lot of plans right now with Star Wars. There's a lot of Disney Plus. They're talking about new features. And I don't think anything in the coming near future is going to have Revan in it. But it's almost unimaginable that he won't be featured in his own thing at some point. And looking at his story, it would almost make the most sense to use him for a trilogy of features. Just with the character arc he has, there's no way you could plot that in one movie. It would have to be. I guess you could do a Disney Plus type, multiple seasons of something, but I think it would lend itself pretty well to features. And I think to have a star in a group of features, somebody that's already recognizable instead of just making somebody up and hoping that everybody likes them. I think your features have to be more bankable. So, yeah, Darth Revan, the first, I don't have a copy of it because I just sent it off, but the main first appearance for Darth Revan, somebody is trying to, there are very few on eBay right now. Somebody has a 9.8. They put a price tag of $4,900, which is crazy. The last sale of a 9.8 of that was a couple months ago at $600. But I've seen a lot of crazy prices recently. Oh, cool. Yeah, so am I. No, I'm going to wrap it up here too, Splash. But I was going to ask you, since you're a longtime collector, do you get anything slabbed, or do you send books to CGC to get graded just to own? Or do you keep everything raw where you can have access to it or read it? I'm kind of both way for my own collection. I like to have some that are raw, but if it's a really important book, I would really much rather to have it protected. I would bet that Your Amazing Fantasy is probably in a case. I would hope so, but what do you do? Do you grade a lot of your books, or do you just keep them in long boxes and categorize them? God, I need to do that for my own personal collection. I need to get a good app that organizes and so very few. You don't send any in. I love the Mylar. You can take an ugly book and put it in Mylar, and it looks beautiful. Yeah, I kind of wish I had more of my own personal collection that were just bagged and boarded. But honestly, if they get to have some value, I just get too nervous. I mean, if a long box isn't stacked perfectly, and maybe I'll try those things to help you keep them upright, but things shift, things tilt. Wow. That's a big collection. Well, if you're ever looking, there was somebody a couple hours out of town who was selling a really big collection like that. Like you needed the trailer to get it home. And I talked to him on the phone, and he was, in retrospect, this was like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. It wasn't that much that he was asking for. I mean, it was like, I think he was asking for $3,000 for the whole thing. But at that point in time, that was, it is a lot of money, but considering how many books he had, and I don't think he had your kind of books, Amazing Fantasy 15 or anything like that, but I'm sure there was plenty of books in there that could have got me up to 3,000 pretty damn quickly. But number one, I had no idea where I would even put it. I'd have to rent a space, and then it would take about 5 years to try to organize and sell anything. But yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, I hope you have a kid or a grandkid who loves the hobby, who you can pass some of that stuff on to down the road. Yeah, it is fun. I think a lot of collectors, we said for years, oh, these will be valuable someday, and it's getting to the point where we're pretty much right. They are going to be valuable. There are some of these are actually, books like AF-15 might be a better investment than a lot of stocks. Yeah, I will definitely check it out, Splash. Very cool. Well, again, thanks for coming. If you watch this later, thanks for tuning in. I don't know. It is what it is. Splash, I'll check you out. And everybody else, have a great night. Look forward to seeing you again sometime. Keep on reading those books, man. Take care.